Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So today I'll be talking about my parents' divorce. A lot of people don't understand how I'm so close with my father after everything that happened between my parents. But before I go into that, my name is Pumi Dukwe and I'm a holistic personal development speaker. So my channel is about holistic personal development for women between the ages of 20 and 30 years. So please come and join with me in this conversation. Number one, when did my parents divorce? So my parents divorced when I was 5 years old. I don't have much memory of the actual divorce. I don't even remember my parents fighting. I don't remember my parents not getting along. I don't have a picture of my parents being together. So I wouldn't say I know them married. Like, I know them as individuals. My brother, who is 5 years older than me, so obviously he was 10 years old at that time, he would then have more memories of what transpired, how it transpired, and everything. One vivid memory I have is when we were at my grandmother's house, and then my dad was forcing to speak to my mom when my aunts and my grandmother didn't want him to speak to her because my mom was like done. I have a memory of that. And then I also have a memory of the truck coming to actually fetch my mother's stuff at our house, at their marital house. So my parents were living together in a place called Blade Bank. That was a mine town because my dad was a mine worker at the time. So they were living a very good life. According to my brother and my mom and my dad, the story is that they had a helper who is late now. And then we also had dogs. I remember the dogs and I remember feeding the dogs Rice Krispies. I also remember the area a little bit. I don't really have a vivid memory of my childhood from the ages of 0 to 5 years old. I don't really have a memory of that. I remember one outing as well. We went to, I think it was Spur or Wimpy. I can't remember. But I don't have a good memory of my parents being together and us living the four as a family. So when they divorced, I really didn't know what was going on. I just saw us going back and moving back to my grandmother's house, which is my mom's home, right? And then growing up, my dad was not there. That was the last time I saw him when my parents divorced. That was the last time I saw him. And then he was not there. It was me and my mom and our grandmother and my siblings. My brother, my brother. So we grew up with our mom being the sole provider for us, her working for us. She took us to the best schools at the time. And that's what I realized about the schools now. The school that was good 10 years ago is not actually the school that is good now. But at the time, the schools that we went to were good schools, even high school. And then she took us to boarding school. It was her decision alone. My dad was not involved in the decision making of what school we attended, what sports we played. He was not there. He was literally, they were not in communication. My mom, not once did my mother speak about my father. Not once, okay? I have an aunt, but she's also a distant aunt. She's my mom's cousin, who told me a bit about who my dad was in the marriage and how my mom came to divorce. My very close aunt, she told me that my mom didn't even call anyone at a family meeting asking for permission or taking out her story to say this is what happened, this is they literally found out my mom was divorcing a day before or the morning of the court day. That's when they found out that my mom is divorcing my dad. And then I also have my late aunt, who is the one who had communication with my dad then. So after my mom saying, I don't want to talk to this guy, I don't want to talk to this man, I don't want to talk to this person, my aunt then took over, right? So my dad was in communication with my aunt, my late aunt, which is my mom's very close sister, like very, 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 very. When my late aunt passed away, that's how I'm just trying to extend the closeness of my mom and my late aunt. When my aunt passed away, my mom literally fainted when she received the news. She went on the ground. So that's the person that my dad in the family had close relationship with, right? Fine. And then this one time I'm in high school, and when I'm in high school I had a dream, right? So I had a dream and I was so scared, but in this dream my dad was there and he was showing us so much love. I can't believe I'm getting emotional. And he was showing us so much love in this dream, me and my brother. He was so loving. And then I could not sleep at boarding school. I could not sleep. I started crying. I had to be taken home. Like, I had to be driven home. And my mom was so confused. She was so overwhelmed by emotion. She didn't understand what's going on. I don't know. I keep on having the same dream, you know? Fine. Only to find out that my brother is then in communication with my dad. I didn't know about this. I don't know if my mom knew about this at that time, but my dad has been in communication with my brother and my aunt. So at that time, I was sitting with my cousin in the dining room. No, this happened actually before. No, the dream part happened after this. Oh, so this one time I was still in primary school. I think I was in grade 4, grade 3. No, it was in grade 4, because in grade 3, I remember I received most of the awards that year. So it was the following year, yes. And that's when things started. But in grade 4, I was sitting with my cousin. I think we were watching Gem Early. That's how old this is. I think we were watching Gem Early with my older cousin, which is my aunt's firstborn child, Karabo. And as we were chilling there, my dad walks in. Literally, this is how it is. My dad walks in and I could not stop crying. I just went in tears. I literally started crying. I was just crying and crying and crying. And he walks in with my brother. My brother was in boarding school already at the time. So he walks in with my brother. My brother is in his school uniform. So this means this guy went to my brother's school, fetched him there, and then they came home. So I cried. I ran to my cousin ran to me and my dad just held each other. We held each other. We just held I think for a good 2 hours, I was just in my dad's arms and I just could not stop crying. So obviously my dad knows the community there. He knows the people, he knows everybody. Then front opposite, it was a tavern, freeway tavern, and my Osoko thing. The lady from there, Osindobi, she comes, she can't believe her eyes. Oh my goodness. My aunt was cooking, and my aunt is like the best homemaker in the world. My aunt is Kimmewalilap. She stopped everything she was doing and she came, you know. His car was parked outside. People could just not believe it. My grandmother was chilled. He was happy to see him. I mean, this is his ex-son-in-law. She was happy to see, but she was the most chilled person in all this. She was, oh, okay, hi, hello. She offered him no more courtesy. And then the following day, we spent the day with him. We spent the whole day with him with my brother. It was just me, him, and my brother. My mom was not home at that time. She was not home. My mom was working away. She was traveling with work. So at work, my mom now she's on pension, she was called a firefighter. So if they need her in Limpopo, she has to be in Limpopo. If they need her in Mpumalanga, she has to be in Mpumalanga. If they need her in wherever, she has to be wherever. So my mom was hardly home like for a long time because she was always traveling with work. She wasn't there on the day that he came. I don't know if she knew till this day. I don't know if she knew. But the following day she came and it was awkward. Because now she treated him like her husband. On the day, she made tea for him, lay a tray, all that. I was, oh, okay. You know, it was the first time in my life seeing my parents together in one room, not even together as a couple, but literally seeing them in one room. And then my dad, I think at the time he was an elder in the church or a priest, I can't remember, but he had to go and report to his senior that he's around, he's going to be here for a few days. He came to see the kids, blah, 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 blah. We went with him there, and then he took us shopping, which is what my mom has been doing for years. It was special because it was our dad. You know, he took us shopping first. Like, it was the first time I bought All Star. I was in primary. It was the first time I bought All Star. It was the first time I bought Nike sandals. Him and my brother have been talking prior, so they've obviously had a better relationship or a more intimate relationship, you know. And ever since then, it has just been like chokehold. Like, literally, we've been close with our dad. Ever since then, we go to our dads in December. So if, for example, last year, 2025, we spent Christmas at my dad's. And then this year, 2026, we're spending Christmas at my mom. So that's how we've been alternating ever since. Yes, I was 10 years old at the time. I'm 31 now. So that has just been the norm, like every single year. And then when the first time we went for Christmas there, his wife, who is my stepmother, she was good. Like, we clicked. Like, I don't know. So my dad is a conversationist. Like, he's literally a conversation strategist, right? I don't know what conversation he had with her, but it was click on. Like, so we click so much, right? And then he has always been paying child support, but I think he did it in terms of school fees and not actually, like, my mom did not take him to court, or there was no like fights in between them, or where it was like ugly. I didn't see the ugly side, but my aunt says there was no. So I thought maybe there was when I was still a child, but my aunt was like, nope, like your mother has never, not once. And that's the person that my mom is. Like, my mom is such a calm human being. It's scary. Like, the calmness of my mom is complete. It's scary, but I'll tell you now why my mom is so calm. So growing up, I've always seen my mom with her Bible. Like, the Bible that I have, oh, I actually have it here. Let me take it. This Bible, right? I have 5 Bibles. I have an Afrikaans Bible and a Xhosa Bible. Both are from my dad. And then I have Amplified, and then I have ESV, which I bought for myself. And then I have this Bible, which is also ESV, but it's Good News. I actually got it from my mom when I went to high school, boarding school. So she gave me this Bible, and this is the Bible I can't get over. Like, I can't stop reading this Bible. Like, even my Amplified, which was thousands, I literally like this Bible, and I realized how my mom is the person that she is. Like, my mom is with her Bible every single night. I asked her this year what she wants for Mother's Day, and she's like, I just wanted English Bible. I'm like, is that what you want for Mother's Day? Like, yeah. And I'm like, because I've learned you must always hit the nails when you're doing gifts. Like, buy people gifts that they want and not what you think they want. So yeah, I made notes. I have my journal here. I made notes of the points I want to get across and the things I want to talk about in terms of my parents' divorce. And then so because my dad is a blabber, like, my dad he's like me, like, he's a conversation strategist and a well-spoken person. So he's the one who then told me this side. And then number one, what he told me and confessed, like, I regret not putting in the work of how we could have made it work. But also he said something that I'll always have in my head. And he said, we were asking advice from people who wanted us apart. Like, we were talking to people who actually saw the danger or the greatness of who we would be if we remained together. That's what he said, right? But I also think, like, he doesn't want to take a lot of the blame, because I think 70% of the thing is he was in the wrong. So or 80% even. So I think sometimes I'm like, dude, just take the blame. Like, it's okay to take the blame, you know. But he literally, like, till this day, he's like, I think we could have made it work if we wanted to make it work at that time, you know. But he also says our advisors and our leaders, our superiors, were not as good as we thought they were. And I've learned that in my own personal life, that sometimes you talk to people who are your elders or your superiors, currently they don't want what's good for you as much as you think they do, right? And then my mom doesn't like talking about it. So my mom doesn't like talking about my dad. My mom doesn't like talking about their divorce, even if she's the one who called it, right? And then what I know for sure is that my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, who I also met when I was 10 years old, I knew her before then, but I didn't really know her. So my vivid picture of her is when I was 10 years old, and that girl looks like me, okay? Her eyes, her height, that girl is me. So she's the one who apparently, I wasn't there, or I can't remember, who fought, like, who asked, who begged my mother not to leave, like, who asked, like, please give him a second chance, please let him try, please let him. And then my mom was like, juices, peace out, I'm not doing this, right? And then My mom never spoke about it, and my dad not even once. My mom did not even say a bad thing about my dad till this day. The one time though that I think she said something but she was not aware, it was me, my mom, and my grandmother, right? And I was telling my grandmother and my mother about my current boyfriend, right? And he's very quiet, he's very laid back. And then my mom made a comment, she's like, that quiet, keep on, maybe damn, you know? Meaning like the quiet ones are actually the bad and the worst ones, you know, are actually the ones who are hidden in who hide their bad side. So that's what my mom said. And I'm like, okay, your ex is quiet. Like my dad is a very laid back person. So I'm like, maybe I'm assuming she was referring to my father. Right, that's the one time, like literally the one time she spoke about it. Oh, and then she also spoke about the custody. So I asked her this whole, like, how did you end up with us, like, between? And it's like, no, I just won the custody at court. Like, they gave the custody to me. I'm like, oh, okay. And then one thing she's proud of, she's happy about, she loves about, that came out from her marriage. My mom still loves the Xhosa culture. So my dad is Xhosa and my mom is Tswana. My mom still, even till this day, she still loves Xhosa. Like, even when she goes like to weddings and there are traditions that must be bought, she literally buys the Xhosa tradition, right? That's number one. Number two, she loves us, like me and my brother, as her children, because she says, she planned us. So she's like, I knew I wanted 2 children, and my mom had me when she was 33. She had my brother when she was 28. So she said, I knew I wanted children in my late 20s and my early 30s, and then I knew I just wanted 2 children, so I planned you guys. And this is my takeaway. And she said, that's why when your father left, your lives were not compromised as much as the livelihood was, because we moved from a big family marital home to our grandmother's house. So that was the change, right? To say we're living in the burbs to living in Reconciliation. So that was the change, but that was the only change. So when I asked her then why didn't she buy a house then, like why didn't she just, she's like, I had to choose between whether I move you guys to the burbs or I take you guys to good schools and you do the Reconciliation. So that was her choice that she had to make at that time, you know. The one thing we've never spoke about is why she cut him off completely. But now that I'm a grown woman myself, I don't have to ask that question. I know for sure that when you are done with someone, you are done. Like, when you are done with a human being, female, male, friend, romantic, platonic, when you are done with someone or something, even whether it's a job, like you are done. You don't want to know. And I get her. I'm like, actually, girl, I get her. And that's one of the principles or the things that my mom taught me in terms of letting go, to say, you know, I respect my mom so much when it comes to divorce, to divorced women specifically. Like, my mom doesn't even know my stepmother's name. That is how much she is over my dad. Like, she doesn't even know my stepmother's profession. Like, she doesn't know. Like, like, she could not be bothered. Like, she's not interested whatsoever. She's not interested in my dad's life. Like, she doesn't want to know, right? And I think that is the highest form of healing. My dad is the one that still talks to my mom. Like, for example, on Mother's Day, he wishes her a Mother's Day. I don't know if he calls her on his birthday. I don't know that. And I think he still wishes. So, for example, on Christmas Day, right, we would be waking up and preparing for church. Obviously, I would talk to my dad and my stepmom before they head for church. So then my dad would be in the conversation and say, oh, say happy. And then he would say, like, give your mom the phone. Then he would say, and then my mom speaks to him like the elder that he is in the church as compared to Mutwachach, you know, or her ex rather. Like, she speaks to him like she would speak to any other brother in Christ. That's how my mom treats my dad. And I think that is the highest form of healing. My mom is savage, actually. And I think that is the highest form of healing, to treat a person as you would. Because my parents, I should have told you this, because my parents met at church. So my dad was the conductor of the choir and my mom is a soprano. It's like, oh, she's so good. So that's how they met. So obviously before they met, it was a brother and a sister in Christ. So my mom still treats my dad like a sister in Christ, like a brother in Christ, and she's still like humble and umtobela, like humbles herself according to that way. But as a boyfriend or as a man or as a husband, he's like, juices, dude, like, I'm done with you, you know. And I think I learned that from my mom, the art of letting go and literally moving on from someone. Like, she has never not once bad mouthed him, not once, not even to other people, you know. She has never not once, because that's why my aunts, till this day, my aunts don't know why my mom divorced my dad. Like, they don't have a reason, like, yo, we don't know, your mom just came. Obviously they speak in our language, Setswana. And then she's like, they don't know, your mom just came and your dad was such a cool dude. That's what my aunt said, like, your dad was humble, cool dude. Like, they did not know. She was the one who lived with him. She was the one who experienced him. She was the one who stayed with him, okay? The one person who knows a tad bit, who saw some things, is my other aunt, my distant aunt, like I said. And she says my dad was highly insecure. Like, he was very insecure of and my mom is, my mom is hot, okay? She was like in the pageant, yeah, like beauty contest. Yeah, my mom used to do those things. So she was a hot girl, okay? So a lot of people don't understand how I became so close with my dad. So close, like, I speak to my dad so much, and his voice is my anchor, and I'm so grateful to God that that is my father. Like, I'm so grateful to God that my dad is my dad, and I'm so grateful to my mom that she chose my dad to be my dad. So let's get into the forgiving and the anger and the distance of what the divorce caused then, and why I've always had an anti-vision of what I don't want my marriage to be and what I do want my marriage to be, right? So my anger from my dad came to a space when he was not there. So between 5 and 10 years old, that's like 5 years, I didn't know him. And I feel like, even according to science, like 0 years to 7 years are very fundamental years of a child. So as a result, I grew up without a man in the house and knowing what a man should be. And I think that has affected my approach to men, even to this day and age, you know. I'm still healing also from that, to that hyper independence, because my mom is hyper independence. Like, my mom has a family name that we call her DIY, because she will literally do anything for herself. Like, my mom can put in a light bulb. My mom can do tiles. Like, my mom can do tiling. My mom can do a garden. Like, so I think that came from that pain of being hurt by a man that she was supposed to feel safe in. And then now you are hyper vigilant. Like, financially, my mom is super responsible. Like, I learned my financial literacy and handling and saving and all that. I got that from my mom. Frugal living, I got that from my mom. So she was hyper independent, but I don't want to be hyper independent. So I still have to unlearn those teachings that I learned from her, right? And then number 2, it's also that she didn't want me. Number 2 of not having my dad is not prioritizing relationships and treating relationships as, like, you know, when you have a protective wall to say, okay, he can get in, but like, you are protecting yourself so that you don't get hurt, but you don't realize that you're not actually opening yourself up to the person. Like, you're not really fully being vulnerable. And you might be able to tell your person about regrets, things that you regret in your life, things that you wish you had not done, and all those things. But are you really being vulnerable, you know? So I haven't really had the chance to be fully vulnerable in my relationships or in my relationship. And then number 3 is not having a type, you know, for my dating life, my early dating life. I didn't have a type really. I just knew that he had to be self-sufficient, you know, and self-sufficiency for me, it doesn't matter, like, whether he's an entrepreneur working for himself, as long as he's self-sufficient, because I keep at him more, like, I don't want a burden. And then I didn't have a type also in terms of look, like, do I want dark, do I want light, do I want caramel, do I want chocolate, you know, do I want bulky, do I want fat, I never really had the type, you know. So what I'm trying to say, that even if he came back into my life at the age of 10 years, but that 10 years did not erase the 5 years that he was not there. Those things still had an impact in my life, okay? And then last but not least is respect for men as a species, right? And we still struggle with that to this day between myself, my brother, and my father. And I also struggled with in my relationships to say you must respect a man, like the gender male, right? For me, I'm like, why must I respect somebody who doesn't care? Why must I respect somebody who abandoned us? So I really struggled with that to a point where sometimes I would not respect his voice when we are home in his house. I would question things, and you will see the frustration. But then because we are both Christ-like or trying to be Christ-like, we would then pick ourselves back to say, this is not how it works, because we are both trying so hard, but we can both see the leaks of what him not being in our life at a certain age caused. But my most anger towards him was with my brother, because then I feel like I still feel it, but I'm learning to forgive and also understand that there's also a limit to when you can blame your childhood and when you can blame your parents. To say, I feel like had my dad been in my brother's life at a younger age, my brother would have been way better off than he is. So my mom obviously did the schooling, took us to the best school, but she's a woman, and there are certain things that are not innate. And once you make a woman not safe, even if she becomes masculine, but her masculinity will not be safe because it's not in her nature to be masculine. So there's parts of that, especially when my mom and my brother would then have altercations. I would literally say, if you were here, this could not be happening, if you were here. So I had that anger towards him, right? And I blamed him for all those other things. But then how did I come to forgive him? And this is one thing my aunt, my mom's cousin never understood. Like, how did you become to forgive him? Like, I don't know. I really, well, I do know now, but what I'm trying to say is that I did not intentionally go and say, I want to forgive my dad. I didn't do that. It's just something that automatically happened until one day, 4 years ago, I actually wrote a letter to him, Obviously, I didn't give him, but a letter of forgiveness to him. I still have the letter. I wrote that letter, and I wrote everything that I forgive about him and the thing that has happened in his absence. And the things that are happening even now because of the result of that absence or because of the result of that divorce, So I literally have letters that I write about that. That I write to my dad. And I've also learned a lot about forgiveness. And God's everyday prayer, guys, it says, forgive those as I forgive them as I have forgiven, So if I'm going to ask God for forgiveness every night when I say the Lord's Prayer, then I have to also practice forgiveness. And also what I've learned about human beings is that everybody is going to live with the consequences of their choices. Like, even if you blame someone for the consequences of your choices, you still have to live with the consequences of your choices within those choices. So that is why I'm like, Jesus, I cannot then dwell on what did not happen. I cannot dwell on how I think he should have showed up at that time. I cannot then dwell on how I think they could have made things work. Right? So my life now is in my hands, and my decision and the decisions that I make, the choices that I make, I will have to live in those consequences. But I've also learned that people do what they know is best with the tools that they're given and with the resources that they're given. People do what they can do with the resources that they're given at the time. And I really think both of them did the best that they can at the time. So I didn't go out and have to think about forgiving my parents. I have to think about forgiving my dad. No, it's just something that happened. And here and there, like last year, December 2025, we had an altercation, me and my dad, while I was visiting him for Christmas. And he said, that's not how you talk to a man. And I wanted to say something, but we both, and he, like, literally we were okay. Like, we came together and we okay, and sometimes I even feel like maybe had I lived with him, I wouldn't be able to have this relationship that I actually do have with him now. I really believe everything happens for a reason, for a greater good. God says, look, I'm doing a new thing. I genuinely believe in that verse, and I really believe that God does make things work for our good, plans to prosper us. I really believe in that. So I genuinely think this is how God wanted it to be. And I really believe that this is how the outcome God wanted to be. Do I excuse the fact that they make decisions as a couple? No, I don't. Do I excuse the fact that, like the book of Proverbs says, that some decisions, some things that happen in our life that are bad, something like divorce, it can be your own doing. Like, God is not part of this. It could literally be your own doing. You could have been the person that caused that to happen. But now, I have to decide what is my anti-vision of marriage and what is my vision of marriage. So I know now for sure that the person that you choose to marry, the person that you choose to have children with, the person that you choose to do life with, it has to be certain decisions that are involved, and which is a video I'll do another day. But for this one, I say I did not go and say I want to forgive my dad. It's something that happened over the years. And I think because we are a Christian family, all of us, like, it's not that my mom was not a Christian and my dad is, or my dad was. No, like, my parents were equally yoked when they met. Like, they were equally yoked. And I think that is why there's so much peace in their divorce. That is why there's so much peace in them raising us. That is why there's so much peace in the families coming together. Like, I have a good relationship with my father's side. I have a good relationship with my mother's side. Like, I only have a good relationship maybe with my aunt my dad, and then the rest. No, I have a good relationship with my cousins. Like, my other cousin from my dad's side works on the same street that I work at. And we meet like almost every Friday for lunch or for drinks, or like, I have a good relationship with both my family. And I think it's because my parents, of who they are together as an ex-couple, I think of the people that they are individually, is the reason why we are able to have the life that we have and the relationship that we have, with both maternal and paternal. So yes, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much.